Welcome to the Pretty Confident Podcast, where we embrace authenticity, own our worth, and build unshakable confidence. I'm your host, Sierra Renee. Let's dive in. Hello, you guys. It is the second week of January 2025. How are you all feeling with this second week? How have you all been feeling with the past 2 weeks that have been, going on? Like, what have you all done and what have you all set out to do? Today, in today's episode, we are going to talk about how to set goals because I just want you all to know that it is very important that you set goals for yourself and you write them down, you outline it, you do a vision board, you do something that you can tangibly see and touch to remind you of your goals. Now, I do already have an episode out there about like how to stay motivated, and I feel like it's the same thing with goals. How to stay motivated, how to stay on track with your goals is by having something to remind you what you want to do. Sometimes we lose sight because of the day-to-day activities that we have going on, some things that are thrown in to our lives as a curveball, and now we've lost track of what we initially set out to do. If you have something tangible and that you can refer back to, that is going to hone you back, will bring you back to, ground level with whatever is going on. This is going to remind you what I set out to do, what you set out to do for this year or for your life. So that is what we are going to get into today. But of course, you always know I got to ask you all. I have to ask you, how are you doing? For me personally, it has been a rough 2 weeks. I'm not going to lie. Like a lot of things have happened and I just feel like I'm just here. But for me, I have been referring back to my bingo board, and we'll get into that a little bit later when we're talking about how to set goals. But I feel like referring back to that and honing in on what I hold myself to every single day and what I try to, what I try to like show on a day-to-day basis and how I try to carry myself. And you guys, I already told you all before, when I do certain things or when certain things happen, I always ask myself, how would I respond or how would I treat a certain situation if kids were involved? So that is how I try to lead my life. I try to lead by example. And so I'm trying to get into that practice now. So that way when I have kids, it's not hard. I'm not, is I'm not lost. And if you don't know who you are as a person or how you want to convey yourself, it's going to be really hard when you have kids because you're dealing with a human being, raising a human being and figuring out their life. And sometimes that can overshadow ours. So I am trying to be the best person that I can be. That way, when I bring children into this world, I know exactly who I am. I have sense of self, and I am bringing up a child the way that I know I want to, and I'm not trying to figure it out, as I'm going along. Like, of course, there's going to be things in motherhood that I don't know, obviously, until I do things my way and until you're in certain situations. Like I told you all before, experience is the best teacher. So, if you have sense of self, it kind of makes the journey a little bit easier. And kids are always going to reflect who we are as people or teach us or show us different aspects of ourselves that we didn't know or that we kind of pushed to the side. They are going to bring all of that up. So I just try to lead by example every single day and be somebody that I would want my child to be proud of at the end of the day. And even though I don't have children now, that is how I kind of think of things. That's how I try to lead my life. And just being a good person in general. Like, I try not to be a shitty person. I'm not anyway. Like, y'all, literally my boyfriend and I had unwarranted or something. Like, it wasn't planned to have a heart to heart, but he and I had a heart to heart last night, and y'all, I was literally bawling into tears because some people don't tell you what's wrong in the moment. They wait to tell you after they've made it through their storm. I'll just give you a little backstory. So I already mentioned to you all, and if this is the first episode that you're listening, then of course this is for you as well so that you kind of know a little bit what I'm talking about. But my boyfriend and I moved in together August of 2023, and he was in the military prior. So I just know moving state to state and not having your family around, not having anybody that you're really related to around, and moving for a relationship that you don't even know if it's going to last. This is something that you're just going out on a limb on. That can be nerve wracking. And I just know from my standpoint, if I had to move states to be with somebody that I met on a freaking cruise, because we met in July of 2022 on a cruise. We did long distance, or we didn't really make it official until October when we met in person again. So from July to October, you're just communicating with this person over the phone. And then October, he was visiting every 3 or so months. And then the very next year, August 2023, he moved in. So that's not a full, that's not a full time enough time for anybody to really understand who somebody is, especially when it's long distance, if you didn't know the person before they left. So I always checked in with him. I always wanted to make sure I asked him, how are you feeling? Do you still like it here? Are there any challenges that you feel like you're facing, or any, you know I guess, not discouragement, but like any regret maybe? Because it is okay to feel regretful when you jump out on a limb and do something that you're not used to doing. Like, we both took a chance. I've never lived with a significant other before, and I've never been in a long distance relationship and then turned that into, we're sleeping in the same bed every single day and now we live together. That's never happened for me, and that's never happened for him either. So on top of all of that, and he moved states to be with me, I can only imagine how hard that is, not being somewhere where you're accustomed to, being somewhere completely new, starting completely over. You don't have a job. You're not in the military. You don't have any family here. You don't have any friends here. So I always checked in and like asked him how he's doing. He always told me he was fine. But at a certain point, I'm like, you can't be fine. You just can't be, because I know I wouldn't. But I'm not going to impose my fears and my overthinking onto him, because it's a different experience for him. It's his life. And he's moved around before being in the military, right? That's a different life entirely. So he may have, I thought, okay, he may very well be telling me the truth, and he could be completely fine. Like the military, you move and, you go on deployment, this and the third. So maybe he is telling me the truth. So at a certain point, I just kind of like stopped really asking him, because I was like, I don't want him to think like I don't want him here or anything like that. And he did have trust issues. He did have issues with like depending on people, because he's been so let down in the past. And so I was like, okay, I feel like if there was something wrong, we have a relationship or like a foundation where we come to each other and talk if we need to, right? If it's just killing us deep down inside and we just have to get it off, we know we can talk to each other. That is the number one thing I love about our relationship. And so, I just stopped asking, because then on top of that, my mom was asking me like, hey, does he still like it here? Is he good? How's he feeling? And I was like, well, he just keeps telling me, yeah, he's fine, he's fine, he's fine. I was like, so I'm already overthinking, because I'm like, I'm just getting the same I'm fine answer. But if she's asking the same questions, I must not be overthinking. There might be something there that he's just not telling me. So last night we just like had a heart to heart, and like he opened up a little bit about how he felt previously. And I was like, you know what? Thank you for telling me. I want you to know that I really do truly appreciate you not giving up, because I think I told you all in another episode, it could have been different. He could have came down here, was completely out of his element like he already was. And instead of staying and pushing through and getting to this comfortable place where he is now, he said that now, like, I made this place a home for him. Um, just how I am as a person, not forcing anything, letting everything happen organically and planning everything for our future. Like, if he did not stick it out this long, or even a year into us living together, even like a couple months into us living together, he could have said, I don't think this is for me. It's too hard. I'm going back to my hometown like before I went to the military. And there is nothing that I would have been able to do or say to convince him to stay, because honestly, I would have gotten that. I don't have any family here. This is a new place for me. I don't know anything about this place. I've never been here. I've never traveled here. And I don't have a job. I don't have any job security here. So at this point, it's time for me to go back to my roots and figure out a plan for there. So I just commended him on how well he handled the whole situation. And I told him how I felt and how I was overthinking. And, my mom was asking me the same questions, and I was just giving her the same answers he was giving me. And I was like, I felt like something was there, but you know, instead of prying and trying to make somebody open up, that can make people resent you. If you are asking questions that they are not willing or ready to answer. So I told him, I said, at a certain point, I stopped asking you because I was like, if there is something wrong, we have gone through enough stuff now where he knows that he can come and talk to me if there is something happening. He knows he can sit there and will pull me aside regardless of what I am doing. I'm going to stop what I'm doing to talk to him if he says that it is something serious and he needs to talk. So I just commended him because I'm like, at any point you could have given up and went back, because it was hard and it took a while for him to get a job here. You could have quit at any moment and went back to what you knew. But you stayed here in uncharted territory for yourself. You stayed here in a growth zone and you grew. You laid down the roots. You are reaping what you have sowed previously 2 years, what, yeah, almost 2 years ago, because now we're in 2025. So I just want to say, like, publicly, I appreciate him. I am super proud of him, and I don't know how much of his strength I would have had if the roles were reversed. So you guys, I don't know, I just wanted to like share that with you all. Don't force people to open up if they are not ready. That is going to make them uncomfortable around you. That is going to make them resent you, and that is going to make them never open up to you in the future. So I just love my man. I love what we have come down, like where we are currently. And I am just excited for what the future holds for us. I told him I am going to let him lead. The first time in my life that I am allowing a significant other male to lead me in life, I want it to be him, because we have the same values, we have the same goals in certain situations and different aspects of our life. And I am ready to, just see what he has in store for us. I said, I want you to envision our future and I want you to lead us there. I said, I'm not going to, take a back seat and not say anything at all. There are still going to be things that I have to say, and my opinion should be factored into certain decisions, but overall, I want you to start thinking about the future, because he's always been somebody to only think about the present and what's going on right now. And it is time to think about the bigger picture. So if we were to bring kids into this, we need to figure out how we want their future to look and help them the best way we can until they get to an age where they can decide for themselves what they want to do. And even to that point, when they get to that point of, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, this is how I want to envision my future and what I want to do, we need to also still have in place the parental, ideology of, I want to help my child reach their goals, not the goals that I placed for them. So I don't know. I don't know what I originally like, how I led into this, but it is imperative that you have goals. It's imperative that you have a partner that you trust and that you are willing to do life with. And if you are with the wrong person, your gut feeling is going to tell you. That is going to be your God given signal that the person that you are with, it's not for you. The person that you are with is probably here for a season to teach you something about yourself, to teach you boundaries, to teach you not being a people pleaser, to teach you not accepting the minimum for somebody when the minimum is just, it's not even a factor in a different relationship where the person is willing to go above and beyond for you. In a relationship where two people are putting the other person, ahead of themselves, but also care for themselves at the same time. Like, I am ready to do life with my boyfriend. Like, there is nobody that's going to separate me from him unless he does something that we already know is a boundary and a big no-no. So we already had that conversation before going into a relationship. This is a big no-no. If you do this one thing, done, cut off. I don't care how much I care about you. It's going to hurt, but I'm not going to allow somebody to disrespect me like that. So yeah, I don't know. I just really needed to get that off. I really wanted to like put that out into the atmosphere, because if you are somebody that doesn't have somebody like this, or it's something toxic, or you should leave and shouldn't be there, but you stay anyway because you don't want to be lonely, there is greater on the other side. Greatness comes at any given time. There is not an age limit on when you can be great. There's not an age limit on when you have to find somebody. So I feel like a lot of people hold on to people that they know are bad for them because they are afraid of the unknown. And we talked about this in my episode about walking away. That is my most listened to episode to this day. Walking away, because some people decide to stay where they are because they are afraid of the unknown. They are afraid of not knowing what's going to come next. They are comfortable with being disappointed, with being let down, right? With being diminished, with being unheard. But you have to decide when you are done. God has opened the door for you to walk through it and get out of that situation, but you are the one that has strapped your seatbelt into the lock and decided to put that safety net over, because you don't want to go into something that you have no clue of what's going to happen. So you settle for the bare minimum. Ladies, men, we are not settling in 2025 or any year after this. Like, this is your sign now. Stop settling. Stop being okay with the bare minimum. There is somebody out there willing to give you the world, rather than asking somebody for at least a speck, or pebble, or a rock. So let's go ahead and get into today's episode. Like I said, we are going to be talking about setting goals. So for 2025, or for any new year, you guys know that everybody loves to do vision boards, or a lot of new things that I've seen this year, or coming into 2025, were bingo boards and prayer boards. I can't speak too much on the prayer boards because I didn't do one, but I definitely wanted to read off the things that I had on my bingo board. And yes, it may be a bingo board where you can treat it as a traditional bingo board, where you try to get, 5 in a row or 5 diagonally or whatever, and feel accomplished. But I put things on my bingo board that I want to accomplish in every spectrum of my life, at least. And that I don't mind if I didn't get everything like 5 in a row. I just wanted to put things on there where I feel like, okay, if I do this, amazing. If I don't, it's going to carry into 2026 for me. So everybody can do it differently. But I just wanted to, tell everybody, like, I feel like this is a great episode to have right now, as we are the second week into January. So you have that first week to, kind of, I feel like, think about what you want to accomplish in 2025. And now it's time to put that plan in motion, because you can't set goals with no action plan on how to achieve it. I feel like I had this conversation with one of my friends. They were saying, I feel like I always set goals, but I never achieve it, and I just let myself down, and yada 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 yada. Well, did you have an action plan in place to achieve these goals? Because you can tell yourself, okay, I want to win the lottery. Okay, what are you going to do to win the lottery? Are you going to go to different gas stations and different, stores around the country, around the state, around the city, to buy tickets and, hopefully get the winning ticket because you shopped at different, like, what are you going to do to make that a probability, to make that more likely, right? If you don't have an action plan, your goals are dreams, right? Something that you can never touch. And I feel like if you've set goals previously and you weren't able to achieve it, if you didn't set an action plan, of course, that's not going to be achievable. We always talk about, breaking down those vague goals and breaking down those vague achievements that you want to achieve, and Break them down into smaller and manageable steps. If you don't do that, it is going to seem like you are never going to accomplish that goal. So, yes, there is going to be discouragement felt when not achieving the goals that we set for ourselves. Because in turn, there was no action plan that we set in order to get to this. I know a lot of people get upset when they don't achieve those big goals, and either they didn't have an action plan or they did and they did accomplish certain things on that track to the big goal. But guess what? If you are not celebrating those small wins, that is also discouraging you from setting goals from yourself and continuing to reach the goals that you have set. Nobody said if you set a goal in 2025 and you don't accomplish it, you're a failure. Nobody said that it has to be accomplished in 2025 either. So if you set goals for yourself and you accomplish some and don't accomplish others, that is okay. The ones that you didn't accomplish, wherever you are and wherever you were previously, take that and take it into the next year if it still suits you. Like I said before, there are going to be, seasons, there are going to be things that we grow out of because of who we are and the people that we are becoming as we grow older. And as we go through life and have life experiences, there are going to be things that change for us, and that is okay. So if there are goals that you did not achieve because it no longer fits who you are, that is perfectly fine. Don't feel discouraged by that. You have outgrown the person that wanted to achieve this goal. And guess what? Now it's time to pivot and set new goals for the new person that we are. I've told you all before, there are certain doors that we want to walk through, but because we are unwilling to change and learn and grow, we are never going to be the people that are supposed to be walking through those doors because we choose to be stuck in the past. We choose to be the person that doesn't want to grow, the person that doesn't want to change, the person that doesn't want to improve. So you have to decide what is appropriate for me in my season right now. And you have to decide, am I going to set actionable items or actionable plans to achieve these goals that I've set for myself? If not, how else do I plan on achieving this? How else? So I want to talk about vision boards and bingo boards. The reason why I decided to do a bingo board for 2025 was because it was more specific to who I am as a person. I am somebody that loves to point out exactly what I want to achieve or write down exactly how I'm feeling, exactly what I see for myself, and then cross it off the list. Vision boards, I felt like in the past, you cut out pictures from a magazine or print out pictures or get photos, printed off. I just felt like that is a vision of how you want to see your life. I feel like if you have things that you specifically write down, and again, well, let me go ahead and say, disclaimer, this is my personal experience. It may be completely different for you. And that is perfectly fine. You have to do what works for you. There are people that are visual learners. There are people that are hands-on learners. So for me, I need to see specifically what I want to achieve so I know exactly how to go about it. So vision boards for me was not working because you're cutting out pictures. So to me, that's how you want to see your life in 2025, in 2026, whatever year you're doing a vision board for. So for me, that wasn't really working because it's like, yes, I want to see my life like this, but what steps am I going to take to get there? So as I'm talking, I'm thinking about, okay, you could do a bingo board and a vision board and kind of tailor the bingo board off of your vision board. Okay, I want to see my life like this. So what am I going to put on my bingo board that's going to help me achieve a lifestyle that looks like what I put on my vision board, right? So it goes hand in hand, or you can just do one or the other. It is whatever works for you. And I never want anybody to think that I am discrediting or discarding their opinions or what they like to do. And this is a safe space where you should be able to, or you should think like, okay, this is a space where I can voice my opinion and not be judged. That is why I make it, that's why it is imperative that I always say it may be different for you. I feel like a lot of people get in these arguments and discussions where they feel like they have to make somebody think the way that they think. You have your own brain, you have your own life experiences that you have gone through. So whatever works for you works for you. Whatever works for me works for me. It may not cohesively work together, but it's not my place or my right to tell you that how you think or why you think a certain way is incorrect. So the bingo board is working for me right now, and I do want to let you guys in on what I've written on my 2025 bingo board, because I cannot just wait to start, and I have already started on a few of these goals. And I do want to say, we are in 2025 and the years to come, we are not letting things happen to us. We are making things happen. And I want you to know that there are people out here that are saying, oh, I'm just going with the flow. I'm just going to let life happen. I'm just going to, no. If you are letting things happen to you, you are not in control of your future and your life. I feel like if you let things happen to you, whatever comes to you, whatever happens to you, whatever is taken away from you, you're okay with. You're not going to put up a fight for it. But if we are making things happen, we are taking control of our future and doing the things that are within our control as well to get to where we want to be. If you let things happen to you in this life, you are not going to get to where you want to be. But guess what? You also have to be ambitious. If you are not ambitious and you're not good at goal planning or goal setting or creating plans to get to your goals, you are going to let life happen. Life is going to happen to you rather than you making life happen. When you make life happen, you take life by the horns and you are controlling this ride. You control your future. You are letting other things and other places and objects or whatever control you if you are letting things happen to you. You are being reactive. Okay, so we are making things happen in 2025 and so on. We are not letting things happen to us. So on my 2025 bingo board, I did such a good job on this. Y'all, I am getting so into digital design. Like, I created my bingo board from scratch and it looks amazing. So I'm just going to read it. I have pay off one credit card. You guys know this has been a big goal of mine starting July or August of 2023. And I've already told you all, at this point, I have paid over $2,000, I feel like, on one credit card. And we do have to keep in mind, because I was like, why have I already paid over $2,000 and I don't see that negative 2,000 on this card? That's because of interest. That is because of interest. Interest compiles monthly on your credit card if you do not pay the full balance. So 2,000, which does also include interest, and I feel like I can really be done with this credit card by mid of 2025 or sooner. um I do have a plan in place, and that is something that I already told you all. And if this is your first time listening, again, I will be transparent. I did not trust myself in finances. I just got done telling my brother the other day, if you are overthinking, you do not trust yourself in some type of field about whatever you're overthinking about. So I already told my pod squad before, and I'll reiterate it. I was overthinking a lot when it came to finances. And so when I was in that one episode and I was talking, like, I came to the realization, like, I don't trust myself in finances. That's why I overthink every single penny whenever I get a paycheck. So what can you do to help you gain confidence in that subject that you're overthinking about, right? That you don't trust yourself in. You have to build small and manageable steps and build that ladder to build your confidence. So there are several goals that I've set for myself for this credit card that I have achieved already. And I am trusting myself a little more every time I'm making a payment, every time I see that payment, that total go down. I'm trusting myself a little more every time, because guess what? I am not only showing myself that I could get this done, but I'm also displaying discipline. It is very easy to take these, the whole your whole check. And of course, I always pay my bills. My bills are always going to get paid. But it's always easy to take the leftover that you have and do whatever you want with it, rather than take care of the responsibilities that you know has to get taken care of at the end of the day. But like I said, I want to lead by example and be a parent that my child is proud of, my future child is proud of. I have to make sure I'm not in financial debt before I have a child. Children are expensive. I only see how expensive dogs are. I can only imagine that children, human being children, are 1,000 times worse. So I need to gain confidence within myself with my financials in order to even be in a situation where, okay, I feel like we're okay to have a child. Because once you have once you don't trust yourself in something, in one field or area of your life, that could very well potentially influence another sector of your life. So, me not having trust in my finances, if I end up finding out that I'm pregnant and it's not actually planned right then and there, now I'm overthinking bringing a child into this world because I didn't trust myself in finances and I wasn't disciplined and um responsible of my finances before I had a child. So what makes me think I can trust myself with a child to be able to fully and capably provide for a human being that is going to depend on me? It's my responsibility, right? So that trust, the lack of trust in finances is going to influence or flow over to the me having lack of trust in myself with raising a child, because I didn't take care of myself financially before a child. So what makes me think I can handle a child and take care of my finances afterwards, right? So pinpoint these things that are going on, that the pain points, the trust issues, the lack of trust, pinpoint these areas in your life and just try to connect the dots of how is it influencing other areas in your life. So let's go ahead and get into the bigger board. So I did say pay off one credit card. I feel like I'm very well on my way to paying it off sooner than mid of 2025, but I'm giving myself till June 2025. And if I don't accomplish that, that is okay. But I also want to have my other cards paid off as well. So I do have pay off one credit card because I do have, I think, three in total. I do have all three of those on here, three different spaces. Um, and I think I've already said this before, but my other credit cards are nowhere near as high as the one that I am paying down. So those are going to be easy to pay off by the end of the year after I pay this biggest one down. So I do have upload more tutorials. You guys, like I said, I am getting more into digital design, and it is blowing up on TikTok. Like, one of my videos has, I think, 77,000 views and over 1,000 likes and maybe even the same saves. Another video that I uploaded has, I think, like 40,000 views and however many likes. So yeah, I need to hone into that. Like, I told myself I didn't want to be stuck in a niche, but some people are just good at things. My friend told me that. She said, some people are just good at things. And when you're good at things, you need to post about it. And I was just telling my mom, like, she loves to travel, and her best friend just started like a travel experience agency or, consulting job or business or whatever. And I said, well, if you love to do something, if you do something as a hobby, I just can only imagine how great it'll feel making money off that hobby. Like, I love potting. No, there may not be as many people as I want listening to it, but guess what? That is just the cherry on top. What is the rest of the cup showing? Do you care? Are you intentional? Do you actually like doing it? Right? The cherry on top is the results that you get from all of the work that you put in. So, upload more tutorials. I'm kind of iffy on this next one, become a wig influencer. I have loved the journey of my natural hair after combing out my locks in May of 2024. And I don't know. I do want to become a wig influencer because there is good money in that. But I'm going to have to step out of my comfort zone for that one. I do have a no spending challenge for 45 days because sometimes, I'd be spending money on stupid stuff. And when I've started breaking down my checks. And sometimes when I break down my checks and I'm like, ooh, okay, this is the amount that I should have left over. Why do I have less than that? Right? So no spending challenge, 45 days. So that way, one, I can monitor my stuff. Like, yes, I'll be spending stuff that I actually need, but stuff that I don't need and I just want, not buying it, save it. I want to save 2K or 2.5K, so $2,500, liquid diet for 2 weeks, save $5,000, pay off one credit card. That's the other credit card I was telling you about. Start a YouTube channel, which I did, you guys, for the podcast. I knew it was going to come out at some point. I didn't know if I wanted to do it beginning, middle, or end. But for the podcast, I have officially dropped on YouTube. If you don't follow my Instagram, and you are listening to the episodes, you are sometimes going to get things later because I can post things real time on Instagram, and then the episodes may come out, a little bit later on the news. So you guys, go ahead, go to YouTube, type in the Pretty Confident Podcast, and follow me on Instagram at prettyconfident.pod. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel because at some point in 2025, I still don't have a date in mind, because when I set a date, that is exactly when the first visual is going to drop. So go ahead and subscribe now. That way in 2025, whenever I do decide to go visual, you all will already be there and you're not scrambling around trying to find my channel. So I did start my YouTube channel. I can't wait for the first episode to drop. Sorry, you guys. I do think I am going to start dropping audio only on YouTube as well, because if you don't have Spotify, iHeart or Amazon Music, you can at least just turn it on the TV or play it on your car while you're doing it, whatever, and listen to it on YouTube as well. So I do think I'm going to start doing audio only on YouTube until I'm ready to go visual. So definitely go subscribe to me on there, press the bell button to get notified when I drop something. But yeah, I love that I could go ahead and cross that off for sure. I love that so much. Start my spiritual journey. I want to read the Bible more, and I want to get a Bible that is, I guess, tailored to beginners, because it's so hard to like figure out, where do I start in the Bible, right? You don't have to read it like a normal book. There are certain chapters and there are certain verses or scriptures in different chapters that may speak to you, where as if you just read it straight through, I feel like, I don't know. Well, but I definitely want to start my spiritual journey this year. And I am going to put forth the effort to look up for Bibles that I could like take note and, do all of that in. I want to buy new bar stools because I did sell my old ones. They were just not fitting the aesthetic that I have in my home or that I want in my home. I do want to create a planner. Now that I am into digital design, I want to I want to like practice certain things that I know people are paying money for from these creators. So like digital products. So I can create my own planners. I can sell it. I can do this. Like, so many people, like this one person asked me if I could share this template for the bingo board that I created because they liked it so much. And I was like, I don't know how to share it, which I could just delete all of this stuff off, save it as a blank copy and send it. But I'm not sending my work for free. No. I want to start digital designing. I can say I can cross that off too. Y'all, this is so exciting. I could cross 2 things off this big old board already. Start digital designing. I could cross that off because I helped my best friend's husband, and I created a flyer that he for a sale he has going on for oil changes, and I created a new logo for him. Now, if he uses it or not, that's fine by me. I just want to get into the practice of it. And she said she would pay me, but I was like, girl, no, I need to practice, and I'm starting out. So this is great practice for me. Launched my visual podcast, which I cannot wait to cross that off at some time this year. Offer editing services. I do right now like help my little sister edit her videos. Like, I've hopped on a couple FaceTime video calls with her and like coached her through how to edit her videos. So I want to get more proficient and advanced at that, and then offer services for editing people's videos. Apply for a new role at work. Ooh, y'all, my 18 months to get out of this role is almost up. And my manager said I could post out for a new position in the company 2 weeks before my 18 months. So that means next Thursday, the 17th, or I guess This is coming out on the 13th. So this week, on the 17th, I can start posting out for a new position and I can cross that one off. But I'm not going to cross that one off until I post and get a new role. So until I actually get a new role, I'm not going to cross that off because I could say, oh, I applied and cross it off. No, I want to see the fruits of my labor. I'm not crossing that off until I actually get a promotion or a position that pays the same, but will set me up better for the future. No spinning challenge again, but this one is for 30 days. I want to read 5 books, which I've already started on one book last night. And y'all, I read 10 chapters. Ooh, when I get roped into a book, yeah, you ain't gonna get me off of that. There was one book I started one night. I went to bed, of course, to sleep because I'm not staying up all night. And then I finished the book the very next day. That's how good that book was. So I am on book 1 this year already, and I've read 10 chapters. And after I get done potting, you guys, I am going back to reading. So I definitely want to read 5 books. I got 2 new books in, but I already read that. I already read one book in the past, so I'm not going to count that. I just wanted to add it to my library. So I have one book in that I have not read at all, and then another book coming. So that'll be 3 books right there once I get done with those 3. And just because you set a goal for yourself doesn't mean that you're limiting yourself. You can go beyond that goal if you want to. Like, don't limit yourself to just this. If I say I want to read 5 books, I read 5 books. Okay, I'm not going to read any more books because reached my goal. Okay, you're limiting yourself. If you want to read more books, read more books. And more books I will read. Pay off 1 credit card. That's the 3rd one that I have on here. Renovate my living room. I definitely want to get a new coffee table. I want to get a rug for in here. Benjamin threw up on my freaking rug and it was overnight. And typically I hear him, so he must have just spit it up, but it's because he chewed and swallowed up some of his one of his toys. So I think he just spit up. And yeah, I was like, I cannot get this out without staining my rug. So we just threw it away. So I definitely want to get a new coffee table, new rug. I'm thinking about a new couch. Everybody loves my couch, but I think I want a different one because I want a different color. I have a sage green color, but I think I want to do black with some different accent color pillows. So that's on my list. Save $500. So I have the savings and pay off credit card, just different places on here. As I climb the saving goal, of course, $500 will get crossed off. Then if I get to 2.5, if I get to 5K, right? So that is just as I save what goals I want to, what marks I want to hit. More makeup videos because I feel like I do my makeup very well. Like whenever I do my makeup, I get a lot of compliments. So I definitely need to do more makeup videos. Liquid diet for a week and save 1K. So it will be 500, 1K, 2.5, and then 5K. So that is my bingo board for 2025. Like I said, if there is any point in time where I feel like, okay, I've reached this, I think I could go further, do so. Like I said, you do not have to limit yourself on any of your goals. If you feel like you can go further than what you initially set your mind out to do, go further. That is only going to fuel your tank when building your confidence in the future. When telling yourself, okay, I told myself I would do this, but I exceeded my own expectation. I was able to reach this. I told myself I was going to read 5 books, but I read 10, 15, 20 books this year. Right? So, you guys, I just want you all to be intentional with what you want your life to look like in 2025. Let's just look at 2025 in general. What do you want your life to look like in 2025? Write down how you want your life to look like. What are the specific things that you want to accomplish in order to make your life look like that? And let's go out there and achieve it. I feel like when you think of, oh, where do I want to be in 5 years? Your vision for your life within 5 years can change dramatically because you change every season, you change every day. You experience different life experiences every single day. So how you thought your life would look like in 5 years 2 months ago is probably not how you're going to envision your life in 5 years today. So don't limit yourself. Don't trap yourself into thinking, okay, my life has to look like this because that's what I told myself. That's what I promised my mom. That's what I promised my dad. That's what I told myself 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, 2 years ago. So I have to adhere to it. If not, I'm a disappointment. If not, no, no. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of pivoting. Don't be afraid of changing your view of your life based on what you've been through. So I want you to get out there. If you have not created a vision board, a prayer board, look up prayer boards because, like I said, I'm not too well versed in those. So I don't want to speak on something that I have no, experience or at least some knowledge on. So look up vision boards, prayer boards, and bingo boards. If there are two that coincide together that you like create a vision board and then create a bingo board or a prayer board that supports your vision board on how you see your life in 2025. That is very much possible. You don't have to just do a vision board. You don't have to just do a bingo board. You don't have to just do a prayer board. So get out there and set goals for yourself and set actionable plans on how you want to achieve those goals or achieve the lifestyle that you envision for yourself. A goal without a plan is just a dream. So that is what I want to leave with you all today. Like I said, I cannot wait what 2025 has in store for us. This is going to be the year of accomplishments. It is time to get approved for things. It is time to get accepted into jobs. It is time to do whatever you tell yourself that you want to do. It is time to see the check mark at the end of that road completed. Having the luxury of saying, I have done this. I am done. On to the next chapter of my life. So, like I said, go out on Instagram because that is where you're going to see all the up-to-date or live updates that I put on or out there. That is where you're going to see everything live and firsthand. Instagram, of course, my handle once again is prettyconfident.pod. Go to YouTube, subscribe to my channel, VTHE Pretty Confident Podcast. Go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell button. Like I said, I think starting with this episode, I'm going to make sure that I post audio on YouTube. That way, if you don't have any of these streams and you're listening to it on one of those web browsers, you can at least access it on YouTube. And then you can be there already. And then when I go visual, ding, you're already there. So I want to go ahead and close you all out. Hopefully you guys have gotten some type of, encouragement and motivation to set out plans to create one of these things. Even if you just get pen and paper and mark bullet points and start writing out what you want to accomplish. It can be as simple as that. Just put something down on paper. That way you can revisit it and that will bring you back down to earth. If you get too caught up in whatever the heck else is going on, that will center you, right? And then you have an idea of, okay, this is how I want my life to go. This is still true for me. This may not still be true for me. Get out there and set goals, set actionable plans. If you don't set goals for yourself or you set goals for yourself and you don't have no plan, of course, if you don't reach it at the end of the year, you are going to feel discouraged. I am here to let you know we are not being lazy with our goals this year. Whatever we set out to do, we are putting forth the effort. So thank you all for tuning into the Pretty Confident Podcast. Remember, confidence isn't about perfection. It's about embracing who you are. Until next time, stay bold, stay authentic, and stay pretty confident. Peace out.